Hi, I'm Suzanne DiBianca. I'm the president of the Salesforce.com Foundation. I've been running the Salesforce.com Foundation for close to 15 years. I am a hybrid background in terms of my own career. I was in the business sector for many years. I was in the nonprofit sector. And I've always been really interested and fascinated by models that pull together the corporate sector and the notion of social impact. So I was at a management consulting firm after college, and I was then, I did some work when the wall came down in Central and Eastern Europe around conflict resolution and management. And those are skills that apply both in the work, the business environment, and also in the social arena. So my career, more broadly speaking, has really been a mix of both business roles and not-for-profit roles over the years. The Salesforce.com Foundation was founded just around the same time as we founded the company. We built the company on what we call the three-legged stool. It was a new model for technology, which was, at the time, cloud computing was unheard of. You got CDs in the mail and got your software that way. The second was a new business model, which was subscription-based, which was pay-as-you-go, also unheard of in 1999 as it related to software, especially enterprise software. And the third very important leg of our stool was our new philanthropic model. So we started, right when we started the company, we decided to take 1% of our time, our equity, and our product and give it back to the communities that we served. At the time, that was really easy because we had no employees, we had no money, and we really didn't have a product. But we made a real commitment to create a new kind of a company that made philanthropy a core part of their business, just right from their founding, versus waiting till they reached some amorphous level of comfortable success. So let me tell you a little bit about, talk to you a little bit about our founding principles. To create a new kind of a company, really, is how we netted it out. But what we built is something that we call the 1-1-1 model. So we talked about 1% of our product, our people, and our equity. The way that it works, especially for young companies and for entrepreneurs, the most important part really is the equity part. So when we were a young company, before we were public, we took a percentage of our stock, our treasury shares, and we put them into a nonprofit foundation. When you do that early, it's much easier to do it than when you are raising for, say, a Series C round of funding and the pie is very much carved up. When you're a young company, it's a very easy transaction and it has huge payoff down the road. So we've had the opportunity to work with many companies who have also done this. Google took 1% of their equity. They were, really a phenomenal exit, and they created $1 billion in their foundation on the first day after their IPO. Yelp is another one that we work closely with who did the equity set aside, who generated $50 million in their foundation as a result of their IPO. So the equity part is really important as you're a young company and you're thinking about what you can do with your assets in your business. If you do nothing else, do the equity piece. The time part works in that we give employees 6 paid days every year to do community service. We make it part of our new hire orientation process so that our employees that are joining the company really see that it's a practice. It's not something that we just talk about, that we take them out to glide, to feed the homeless, or to clean up a park, or something that is really real on their first day of hire. And then the last piece is the product. So, whatever products that you're building, think about how they could have impact in the social sphere as well, and what your model might be for getting them into the hands of NGOs and higher education institutions in a way that is really cost affordable. So if you work today at a big company, or even if you work at a small company, there's a lot of things that you can do to really encourage volunteerism. I recommend that you do one thing well versus many things. There is, I would look at your local geography to see what organizations around you are providing what kinds of services, whether they're schools or community centers or something that is like a local feel, is something that can really engage employees in a company in a big way. The other thing that we've done, which has been really exciting for people, is we've put together a couple partnerships that are international in nature. We're going, for example, in November of this year to Cambodia to partner with an organization. Education is one place that Salesforce has really doubled down. Room to Read is a great partner in the education space and has done incredible work all over the world. So we're taking our top volunteers, making it an incentive trip, and we're thanking them for their incredible work of service, and we're taking them overseas for a 10-day trip. I know another small technology company. It's much smaller than we are. In fact, they have only about 700 people. They just did a very similar trip with Room to Read as well. So you don't have to be a big company to do this, but it's a nice reward program for high-performing employees or for community volunteers. And the other thing that I would say that has been really helpful as it relates to encouraging volunteerism is to have grant categories that are aligned to that. So for example, if an employee has used their 40 hours of volunteerism, we will give $1,000 in that employee's name to the nonprofit that they worked with, just to honor their commitment. And finally, we have a program that we call Community Action Team Grants, which is a group of people that want to go do something. Sometimes it's a run or a race or a walk or a ride, and it's often health related, but we have a grants program that if you rally a certain number of employees to join you in your effort, we will sponsor it with what we call a team grant. So these are some ideas on ways to encourage volunteerism in your company. You know, if you work for a company that doesn't traditionally have a strong philanthropy program, there's still a lot of things that you can do. The first thing is it relates to advocating within the company. You know, HR is always a very good place to start, as I talked a little bit about earlier, as it relates to employee retention, especially as it relates to employee attraction. We've found this to be very true as it relates to our technology expertise and also our executive talent, that they're looking for companies that stand for something. So the HR person is really a good person to go to really kind of begin to have the conversation about philanthropy as it relates to the culture of the company. The other place, of course, is marketing as it relates to the brand. Knowing that customers really want to buy from companies that stand for certain values. Marketing is another good place. From my perspective, the heart and soul of the culture of the company really kind of relies within the executive team across the board. So whoever you can really engage, I don't think there's a right answer, but HR and marketing are always good places to start. If you work for a company, for example, that hasn't been strong in philanthropy to date, but you see some opportunity for them to get bigger in that area.